I'm going to pass things on over to Angela then. And thank you again, Dion. And she's going to chat with our next guest, who is Polina, who is one of our team that closely reviews Mylio before it goes out the door and has probably clicked every button in Mylio more times than anyone on the planet. So she's going to share some of her favorite things that she thinks would be useful.
Well, welcome, Polina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, Angela. Thank you for having me. It's so nice being here.
Awesome. So we would love to know, since you've spent so much time in the app, what are some things that you've come across that you really like or that you think that maybe everybody doesn't know about? And then also, I know you're an awesome photographer. So how do you use Mylio for your photos? So those are the kind of things that I'm interested in learning about from you.
Yeah, of course. Mylio as a whole package really appeals to me the most. It's really hard to differentiate separate features. There's so many things that I love about it and I use all the time for my personal library. So I think replication is one of the foremost pivotal points of Mylio, that everything revolves around it. And just having so many devices online, being able to sync them up and have all of your library on any device at the tips of your fingers, which is that's really valuable to me personally. I have about a little over 100,000 pictures in Mylio. And they're all available on this little device on my phone or on this iPad that I brought with me as well. That's running Mylio right now. And I can show anybody at any point in time on my phone where I have been in a certain day, in the past, who I was with, where I was, or who I spent my birthday with. I was actually hoping to demo a little bit of this things that I'm talking about. Would you like me to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let's do that. I hope my settings are correct.
I can see your screen. All good.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I'm going to start with my calendar, which is where I spend a lot of my time. And you can see that the pictures span from 1970s to 2022 here. So that's what I really appreciate about Mylio. And for example, if I can think about where was I on my birthday on, let's say, I don't know, July on my birthday in 2020. So I can just go to that date and look where I was on this day. And so this shows the pictures of me being in some awesome location. So this is what it really helps me to remember, and just this is so much for my memories. I know you said I'm a photographer, but I'm noticing I'm taking more and more pictures just for my personal memories of fun, snapping them in awkward moments or weird ones, just trying different things, not even having the time to edit a lot. It's mostly about just memories and having them everywhere. So this is one of my favorite things.
Awesome. Well, and that's the thing with photography, right? We do it to freeze a moment in time, and whether you're making a piece of art or it's something you're just keeping for your own memories, they're all important and they're all so valuable. And that's one thing I love about Mylio is that it lets me bring all of my professional pictures, so the ones that I do create for art, into the same catalog with my memory shots, so I can see kind of behind the scenes what was happening. And then, some of the more polished images I take, they're all in one place, and I can pull those up and share them with friends, family, whoever I come in contact with, like you said, on your phone, on, this little device. It's great.
Yes. If you wanted to continue, I'd love to show another really interesting thing that I like to do. So I am an avid traveler. I love going all over the world, but lately I've been traveling across this country a lot. And what I like to demonstrate to people, not that I'm trying to brag about it or anything, where I have been in the world. And especially if we just look at this country alone. And this is, how Mylio shows all the spins to the places where the media has metadata and GPS location that you can take with your camera or your phone. Most of the modern cameras do store GPS data, and Mylio will import it and store it. But you can also tag media that doesn't have location. For example, if you take it with some professional camera, you can use and also take a picture with your phone at the same location. You can use that location from the phone photo to tag your other photos. So this is when I zoom in all the places, it just starts to decreases the radius that it aggregates those little pins, and so you see more and more photos and more places, which is like it's a fantastic thing. And sometimes you don't know when you have been to a particular place, but then you find it on the map, and then you go and like Washington State, our beautiful Washington State has so many beautiful places. And I recently had a little incident where I didn't know when was I on Fidalgo Island on this beautiful beach. And so I had to go to Mylio and click over here, and I could see the pictures. This is actually from the last visit, but there was a previous visit as well. So yeah. And another interesting thing that I like to do with the maps is going to involve, let me just shrink this up. So you can reduce the selection of your images. For example, you can add certain images to a folder or an album. For example, if you have a trip of an album, so here, for example, we have a Southern California album, which you can just aggregate media and add to this album, and then you can open the right panel map, and you will see everything from this particular trip, the trajectory, how you drove, where you've been, where you've gone, so you can show this to people as well. So I have another silly thing that I tried to do once. I took a lot of photos while the plane was landing somewhere in Seattle. And I could look with Mylio's help, the trajectory of the plane. So it was going this way, and then it did a little loop and came down into the airport in Seattle. So this is like silly things that you can do. So you can add photos to a folder or an album, and then view those particular locations in the right panel in the map.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have to say your map makes me want to travel more. I thought my map was looking pretty good, and then I see yours, and that's amazing. And you have seen and traveled to a lot of places. That's incredible.
Yes, this is something that Mylio helps me do, and I can see all of it in one place. It makes me feel good.
Yeah,
I also see that there's so many places that I have not been yet.
You've got a hole there in the middle of the country.
Angela, can you guys show how to add something to the map if it doesn't have geolocation data already?
Sure. So let's try that. So I have some photos that I will actually demonstrate on a photo that I'll remove the location from it. So here I'm in the old photos, which will be a little tricky to do, but let's try that. So I can zoom to the place where this photo was taken, and I can remove the location from this particular media that I have selected, or a couple of media in case they were wrong. So I remove the location, and so this media are no longer part of this pin that has 181 media, and this media is. So then I can find the exact location where this picture was taken and just drag it onto the map, and then position it exactly where I want it to be and confirm. And here we have this photo.
And I love that not only was the search box, you could have typed into the search, but it actually updated and said, oh, well, this looks like Lighthouse Point Loop. You're like, yeah, that's where I was. So like, it's actually telling you where you put it. So it's not just a search box, it's also a status box, and it reacted to as you dragged, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
For pointing that out. I totally forget about the search box because it's I don't usually know what the names of the places that I go to.
Well,
and all these views connect together. So my pictures on my iPhone always have geodata and my Android phone, but not sometimes the pictures from my drones don't. So you can always right click on a picture and say show in calendar. And then when you do that, then any other pictures you took at that same day are also there. So if you had some pictures from, say, a GoPro or your mirrorless camera, I see you have a couple there that didn't have geodata. You could use the data from your phone and see those. So jumping between views is really easy like this.
Yes, that's a great feature, right? I was trying to explain that some of the DSLRs don't have the location. Some of the professional ones don't have the GPS connectivity with the satellite to store this metadata for the media. Yeah, so this is as much as we can tell you about the map. I mean, there's so many features that's hard to list them all.
Well, a couple of things. We saw how you drag one image onto the map and we're able to add that data, but you can do that with multiple images selected at once. You can do that with an album full of images. You can grab the album and drag that on there. You can grab a folder and drag that onto the map. And so you don't have to get super granular. You can be very selective and like zoom in and get it exactly where you think the photo was. Or if you have an entire trip that you took to, let's say, London, you can grab the London folder and then just find London on the map, pin it there, and then you can go in and refine the individual images later if you want. But at least it gets those on the map and gets them close to where they were taken.
Yes. And of course, if you make a mistake, for example, signing a date to the media, you can always undo that.
Yes.
And it will either keep the previous location metadata, or it will just remove it altogether. So that's always good to remember. You can undo pretty much any action in Mylio that you have done by mistake, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if it's something that can't be undone, you get a warning saying, hey, before you do this, are you sure? Because this can't be undone. So
yeah, there are quite a few of those. Don't do those.
Yeah.
Like deleting. We ask you to double, triple check that you're positive to delete. So when you delete a picture, we make you confirm it, and then it's in your trash can and you have to empty it.
Exactly.
Polina, you had to test a lot of the features before they went out to the door. Is there anything that stood out to you, that little hidden gems or cool things you discovered while testing some of the new features that you think are important for people to use?
Yes, this new release that we just came out the door, we have one new addition that I really like to use, especially for the old photos. So we have significantly improved and streamlined the experience for users of setting date on the media. And I'll be happy to demonstrate that on some photos. So this is something that's part of my Mylio that hasn't synced up yet. So Mylio allows you to import any scanned media as well into your library. It could be old photos, it could be just some memories like birthday cards. This is what I started scanning. So we don't keep them around. So you can just scan them into Mylio and have them as a memory. And so Mylio have this date picker here in the info panel. So you can perform a date adjustment or setting a date on one media or multiple media at once. You can select multiple media and have a change of the date. So you can.
And can you open up that panel again? Because here's a little hidden gem that we'll probably make less hidden next time. Click on the three dots. Show folks that that's actually scrollable. So there's more down there. If you scroll the mouse, there's extra choices.
Right, there's quite a few choices here. And for the pictures that you scan, could be of your parents or your grandparents, and you don't know the exact year, you can just set a decade, which is really, really fantastic. We've had this in Mylio, but this has become more usable and easier available to the users now. So you can just set it into 1920s and save it. And here it comes up immediately. At Mylio, changes the location of this photo and places it in the sorting order of the date that I had previously set. So it just puts it next to the pictures of my parents and my other family. So another thing that you can do is you can actually set a season. If you see that the picture is on the snow and you know the year, you can set the season specifically. So first, however, it takes you through this educational setting of your seasons, whether you are using the seasons of March 1st or whether your season starts at the equinox and solstice, right? So March 20th would be for spring date, or whether you want to do it.
Remember, for example, like people who live in Australia, our summer is their winter. People forget that sometimes. Like when we say, oh, summertime, they're like, you mean winter?
Yeah.
Right. I haven't thought about that. I've never lived in the Southern Hemisphere. So yes, so here you can just adjust the date of this media and set it to a fall of 1922, for example. And this media will have this little indicator telling the users that it doesn't have an exact date. So which means it doesn't have a day, month, and a year and a time, right? So this day is flexible. So it spans across the entire season of fall 1922. And if you right click on this media, you can open it in calendar. And right here, it will be placed in September 22. This is actually a part of Mylio that's a little tricky for some people. Mylio randomly chooses the date within that season or within that duration that you chose, right? The range. So it chose September 22nd for placing this media in. But in reality, every date you open, that media is supposed to appear. And I am finding some inconsistencies now. Oh, I apologize. My fall.
No, you said fall. So September 22nd is technically the first day of fall. So it wasn't random. So it wouldn't be before that because that would have been summer. So not a bug. We don't have to file a bug. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. The human brain, I just had to go, wait, no, I know this one. The first day of summer or the last day of summer is September 21st. It's a very sad day at my house.
Okay, in my mind, the first day of fall is September 1st. That's why I have to kind of think about it. September.
Yeah, those darn official weather people and planetary solar people
from other parts of the world than this continent.
Paulina, there's a question specifically for you in our Q&A. They're asking what device or applications do you use for scanning?
For scanning, I recently acquired an older neat scanner, and it's very easy, and it has its own utility for scanning. It's very simple. Everything works within just a couple of clicks. Unfortunately, I cannot have it. I don't have it connected to this device, but this is actually a folder that I started using. So my neat scan will export for all the scans. It will export them into this folder that Mylio is watching. So every media that's added to the folder, Mylio will add into the library. And right now it's just a few memories, a few birthday cards and things like that.
I love that idea of scanning in cards because through the years, I've not been saving them all, but there's no reason not to. We can convert those to digital. And one of the things that's also amazing that I would just put out there is, could you just humor us and go to the search box and type in the word birthday? I wonder if it'll if it'll find them.
We'll see. Yes, it does find my folders.
But I do see that it also found the file itself.
Right. This is a fantastic thing that we have in Mylio. It's called OCR. So it's Optical Character Recognition, which reads every letter. So basically scans all the characters on the image, if it's readable, and stores that in your database, which is absolutely secure. We don't have access to that information. So in case it's your documents or things like that. And you can search specifically for this type of information using a special keyword, which is OCR. And then you do a colon, and then you can type birthday and close your parentheses. And now images that have a birthday in them will show up in the search. So I actually used this feature and it almost saved my life once. I don't know if we have the time to tell the story.
No, that's fine. But I want to point out to everyone, it's not just the documents that she scanned in. It read the tablecloth. It read the banner. It reads T-shirts. So it's pretty cool.
It is pretty fantastic feature. Yes, if you know something on the photo that you took a picture of, it could be a picture of, I don't know, a price tag or a document, specific document or an invoice, you can search for it. So if we have a moment for my story, I was driving on a Sunday morning through Northern Carolina, and my car showed that I was running low on oil, and I did not know what kind of oil my car needed specifically, so I couldn't call my shop that performed the oil change. And I know that I took a picture of the invoice, and I know that it was part of Mylio. So what I did, I actually searched OCR oil, and you can just do that, or you can add specific keywords that will narrow down the search and make sure that both keywords are appearing on the same document or picture. So this is what I did, and here's the invoice. And here was the type of oil that I needed. So I stopped at the Napa parts and got the quart of oil that I needed. So this is how Mylio helped me.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Really cool.
So we're going to be adding more ways of making search being driven by buttons and things, but a lot of those search things you're doing are filters. Could you go to your search button for just a second, click on search? So if you go to the triangle on the right there of the field towards the right-hand edge, if you click that, this makes it a little bit easier. So you could do some searches here for people or ratings or labels or locations. So this will get you started and teach you how to do some of those advanced searches. Well, Polina and Angela, that was excellent. And I love just the way that you're using it. And I hope you guys see that, you know, we use our own product, and we love having folks on the team who are passionate about photography as well. Polina, thank you so much. We're gonna hear from JC next, and he's gonna be talking about devices and vaults. But thank you for coming. Those are just wonderful things to see.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank you for having
me again. And hello, JC.